Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. So this is going to be a review for the First Purge. Obviously, as you can tell from the title, this review is going to have spoilers. Spoiler alert, 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 spoiler alert. This movie's been out for like a week. I totally understand if you have not seen it. It came out last Wednesday. I totally get it if you haven't seen it. However, this video's been out. This movie's been out for like a week, and it's kind of hard to review and discuss what happens in the movie without getting into the plot. So, spoiler alert, if you have not seen this movie and you do not like spoilers or you do not want it to be spoiled, do not watch this video. Only continue if you have seen the movie or if you don't care about spoilers. Okay, the First Purge. So, I am going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly format for this. Let me start out by saying I have not seen any of the other Purge movies. None of them. This is the only one that I have seen. So this is quite literally the First Purge movie for me, and it is also the First Purge movie in terms of the series. I thought there were only 3 movies. Apparently this is the 4th one. Who knew? Chronologically speaking, this would be the first one. It is a prequel, and it basically tells the story of how the Purge started. For anyone that doesn't know, even though I feel like everybody knows, the whole concept of the Purge is that one night a year, all crime becomes legal. That is including murder, rape, robbery, whatever you want to do is legal. There's this whole... which is explained in this movie, there's this whole like new government, like this new political regime that's called the New Founding Fathers of America, and the whole point of the Purge is that it's this like psychological like idea that Americans need to, well, not just like Americans that said in America, but humans that like, and Americans especially, need to like let off steam and rage and anger and aggression, and that if you can let it off legally for this like one night a year, that like everything will be fine and everything will be great. Like I said, I haven't seen any of the other movies, so I don't know how this plays out in terms of how it's expected that this will like actually like solve problems with infrastructure. I have no idea. I'm not going to get into that. For this movie, The First Purge, since it's the first one, you do not have to see any of the other ones to watch this one. So basically, the plot of this movie is that, you know, the new founding fathers have taken over. Their political candidate was elected president, and he like ran utilizing this psychological experiment of the Purge, basically, that, you know, everybody's gonna like let off some steam, and like crime is gonna go down, and, you know, crime is gonna like drop below 1%, and everybody's gonna be happy if we can just like do this Purge thing, and like da 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 da. And so after he gets elected, they say that they're gonna fucking run the experiment. That's what they call it throughout the movie, the experiment. That they're gonna run the experiment on a test group. And the test group, of course, that they're going to run the experiment on is niggas. So they're like, okay, we're going to run the fucking the experiment on this test group, which is these, like, projects in Staten Island. And showing, like, the lead up to when, like, the First Purge is going to take place, you see that, like, the new founding fathers of America, they have, like, set up these, like, checkpoints around these, like, projects in Staten Island, and they're fucking offering money, monetary rewards or benefits or enticement, you know, whatever word you want to call it, for people to participate in the Purge. So they're targeting this black low-income community specifically, and they're also saying, like, you know, this is a community that's been like hit the hardest by like crime and fucking violent crime and aggression, and so we want to like run the like the niggers are fucking animals. So we want to, like, run the test and, like, see how it happened, you know, like, what happens with them. So they tell people, if you participate, we'll pay you $5,000. If you participate, they give them these, like, contacts to wear and a tracking device, so they will know if they, like, leave the islands. And they give them the contacts so they can, like, live broadcast anything that they do. So it's $5,000 if you participate. So that participation could be considered anything. Like, if you leave your house and go steal a lollipop, like, that's considered participation. But then they also tell them that the more you do, like, the more severe you do, the more money you get. So if you beat the shit out of somebody, you get more money. If you rape somebody, you get more money. If you kill somebody, you get more money. So, like, incentive, that's the word. So really giving them like monetary incentives to commit crime. So that's like the plot of the movie. Like, let's see what will happen if we like let niggas commit crime for one night. I love this movie. A lot of people, I don't know if people like have not seen the movie or if they just like did not really understand the movie. I know a lot of people are saying that they feel like they didn't like the movie, that the movie is racist. I know from the way that I just described the premise, it probably sounds racist. However, the twist of this movie is that the fucking people, the black people in the projects in Staten Island, they don't do anything. Obviously, they think that the fucking niggers are going to act like a bunch of fucking animals, right? But the twist is that the people don't do anything. The people start having block parties. They're like, woo, purge party. They're doing mad drugs, which is what I said on Beastbake. I was like, man, like, there's a lot of things that are illegal that don't constitute killing somebody. Like, I could go rob a bank. I could hit a bunch of ATM. Like, in 12 hours, I could hit 5 banks. Like, I could do a bunch of illegal drugs. I could drop acid. I could take shrooms. I could fucking, have sex outside. Like, there's a lot of shit that's considered illegal that you can do before you just jump to fucking murder. So the twist is that the people don't do anything. So the government that needs this experiment to work, because they ran, the new founding fathers of America or whatever, they ran on this platform of the purge. We're going to introduce the purge and that's going to make everything better. So they need it to work. So when the people don't do anything, the government sends in the military disguised as gang members to kill all the black people. I was like, yo, and there's like whole scenes of dialogue of them talking about it. Like, they're not doing anything. We need this to work. We have to go to plan B. They send in like they send in like KKK members. They send in cops. They send in fucking mercenaries. They send in military, but they have them disguised as like civilians, like gangs. Like, oh, you see how the fucking poor people act? They fucking killing each other with the gangs, but like really it's the government. I was like, yo, COINTELPRO, let this movie get made, because those type of tactics are really used in real life. Like, that's not fiction. Like, that's real. Like, that's fucking really real. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was amazed watching this shit. I was like, I can't believe that they fucking put this shit up on the big screen, like, for people to actually watch and like get the idea in their head. So the people don't do anything, so they send in the military and shit disguised as gang members to, like, kill all the fucking black people. But then the actual real drug dealers and fucking gang members and gangbangers and shit, they start fighting back. They start fighting back against the fucking cops and the military and the fucking KKK and all the people that they have fucking sent into the fucking community to, like, kill everybody. They start fighting back against them and fighting back to protect their fucking neighborhood. It's great. It's awesome. This is the type of shit that people talk about when they say, like, oh, I wish that, like, the Bloods and the Crips will, like, come together and, like, work on ways to, like, protect our communities ourselves, to do some type of, like, community policing and shit like that. Like, that's literally, like, what we saw depicted. And they win. Like, the fucking gang members and the drug dealers, they fucking win. They beat the cops and the fucking military in the end. It's great. It's amazing. There's a fucking scene with this fucking black guy is, like, killing all these fucking KKK. He's like stabbing, he's like slashing them, he's like shooting them, he's like, and it's interesting. What's really, really interesting, obviously I'm in the good right now. And what's also like really, really interesting about this movie is that for the first half of the movie, we see the guy, like the main character, he would be like, Ghost from Power. I don't watch Power, but I know, like, a lot of people watch Power, and a lot of people are, like, aware of Power. So, like, the Ghost from Power, like, figure, like, the super rich, super running everything in the projects, like that nigga type of shit. But he's, like, a drug dealer. Like, he has several altercations with the girl. I can't think of her name right now. But it's like a girl main character and like the guy that's like the drug dealer main character. And the girl is like a activist, like a whole whatever. I'm gonna get to that. And obviously they used to date, and then she realized, like, oh, you're going down the wrong path because you're selling drugs, and I can't be part of this anymore. Like, whatever. That's part of the bad. There was, like, some plot contrivances, some stereotypical plot devices that were utilized. But, so, obviously they're meant to kind of portray, like, flip sides of the same coin. However, even though he's, like, set up in the first half of the movie as, like, the bad guy or, like, a bad person, something like that, again, like, partway through the movie, like, the whole fucking narrative flips, because it shows how he's like, well, you know, people are coming in our community, coming in our neighborhood, trying to, like, fuck with us and trying to, like, take us out. Like, we have fucking guns. Like, we're fucking organized. Like, we're running this fucking drug fucking cartel type shit. Like, we could be like our own military. Like, we don't have to just fucking take this and let them kill us. Like, and like, we live here. Like, we know this neighborhood better than them. We know this building better than them. Like, we can fight back. Like, and these, like, tower movies, like Attack the Block and, like, the Raid Redemption, these, like, tower movies of, like, people, like, fighting in these towers, especially, like, tactical teams, tactical units, military and police and stuff like that. That's, like, a whole genre. I wasn't expecting that. I like that genre. Like, I liked Attack the Block, and I liked The Raid. I liked Judge Dredd. You know, this whole concept of, like, the tower, and you have to get up. You know, like, oh, such and such is on the 14th floor. I have to, like, get to her. You know, the chick, obviously. She's on the 14th floor, so I have to, like, get up to the 14th floor and, like, get to her. Like, I like those type of movies. You guys know I also enjoy violence. What can I say? There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of really well choreographed fight scenes. There was just, like, a lot of really, really, really interesting stuff going on in this movie in terms of, like, the themes that I really enjoyed. The government is framed as the enemy, and the drug kingpins are the good guys. Like, it literally shows a black gang protecting a black neighborhood that's being attacked by white people. And there was also some other, like, interesting commentary on, you have people, they had, like, the girl, she has, like, a younger brother. Her younger brother is, like, he's, like, tired of fighting the good fight, you know, like she is. He's, like, dabbling in you know, beginning to sell drugs. They have a whole conversation about how he feels like it's hopeless. Like, you know, like, his life is hopeless. Like, she says, you know, like, you don't have to sell drugs. Like, there's other ways out. And he says to her, like what? Like, tell me. Because, like, looking around, I don't see it. I feel like those are the type of conversations and dialogues that I don't see very often in movies. There's just always, in TV shows, there's just always this framing of, like, there's always other options, and drug dealers are bad people. And I know I also mentioned in my review of Moonlight, that's something I also liked about Moonlight, was that Mahershala Ali's character, who was also a drug dealer, was portrayed as, like, very nuanced, and, like, he's not fucking selling drugs just for the hell of it because he fucking enjoys the shit, but it was just, like, something that he felt like he had to do. So that's something that's also kind of explored within the First Purge from the vantage point of her younger brother. And another thing that's also kind of explored through the vantage point of the girl's younger brother is this really interesting commentary on people thinking that they'll be able to fucking commit crimes and kill and murder, but then they can't. Like, he wants to participate because he's angry, like, he's enraged. Like, there's an opening fucking monologue where they're like interviewing these, like, poor fucking black people that live in the projects, and they're asking them, you know, like, how do you feel? And they're like, I'm mad, like, I'm pissed off, like, I'm angry, I'm enraged, like, I'm poor as fuck, I have no options, I have no way out. My fucking apartment has fucking rats and roaches, and the ceiling is leaking water, and we don't have no building super, and nobody gives a fuck about us, and I'm angry, you know, like, and I'm angry. But instead of going, like, the predictable route of just having to be angry ass black people and shit, they, like, really, like, explore more of the why, and also, like I said, get into the concept of even people that are angry, but they don't want to just kill innocent people, you know what I'm saying? And they don't want to kill their own people either. But, like, when the time comes down to it of these fucking white people coming in, oh, best believe that homegirl and her little brother, they got knives, they got guns, and they are killing people, and they, like, kill the fucking military. Like, it was just really, really interesting. A lot of, like, really, really interesting concepts and, like, parallels of things going on. I'm really, Let me look it up. Let me tell y'all exactly. Hold on. Let me tell y'all exactly what their names are, because I can't remember. Dimitri. You guys know my memory. Like, my memory for names is not good. Dimitri. And I remember thinking he has the same name as Rich the Kid, because Rich the Kid's real name is Dimitri. Dimitri is the name of the drug dealer. Naya is the name of the girl. And Naya's little brother is named Isaiah. Got it. There we go. Okay, so I really loved it. Like, I really felt like I loved the themes. I've had a couple people tell me that they felt like, so like one person left me a comment that said like, well, they feel like Black people need to be like prepared for like war, and they're not sure how they felt about the fact that they showed some Black people, like the girl's little brother, Isaiah, how he like didn't want to kill somebody. They were like, oh, that they didn't like that they showed that there's like people that don't want to kill because it like makes Black people look weak or something like that. I was like, I mean, I don't really think it makes, I was like, I mean, we do see fucking Isaiah and Naya like both fucking kill people like later on, and we see fucking Dimitri like kill people and stuff like that. I was like, I think it's important to show that killing somebody is not something to be taken lightly, which I feel like is self-explanatory. And I also like the fact that it showed that he was like hesitant about killing another Black person. Like, when it came time to fucking kill the fucking white military people that came in, nobody had no hesitations, no problems. So I kind of felt like that was like a weird complaint. I don't know. I felt like that was a bit of like a strange thing to say. I kind of feel like people are maybe like looking at some of the, which is what we do, obviously, as human beings, looking at some of the plot points through, like, their own, you know, like, filter. But I also wanted to read you guys a comment that somebody else left me that I really liked. When I bought my ticket, I had no idea I was walking into a Black-centric movie, which I wasn't going to watch this. One of my subscribers was like, I have to watch it because it's, like, about Black people. It was an awesome surprise and definitely the first Purge so far. On that note, I wonder why it is being marketed as just another Purge film and not the Black as fuck movie that it was. Immediately after it ended, though, my friend that I went with, who's Black too, said it was good but not better than Black Panther. In my opinion, I enjoyed this movie more than Black Panther, even though I'm in a better socioeconomic position than the main characters. As a Black American, I still related to what was on screen more than when I went to see Black Panther, from the characters to the environment to the music and especially the block party. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the representation this movie provided, and also why it feels like this movie, even with all of the Black faces, will not be equally praised for giving actors of color the chance to shine on the big screen. So many people would rather worship a fake country in Africa than watch a morally conflicted kingpin become an unexpected guardian of his community. It baffles me. I was like, J. Trudy 808, that's your name? Like, great comment. Like, I felt exactly the same. I felt like this movie was extremely realistic. It was not, I mean, like, Black Panther was, like, very fantastical, which is cool, you know, like, fantasy's cool. Like, I like fantasy, like, you know, I like sci-fi, I like speculative fiction, you know, great. This movie was, like, way more realistic, and I know that, like, people are super, like, not into, like, realism. Like, I'm not super duper into realism myself, but I felt like exactly what this comment said. I felt like there were a lot of really important themes and topics hit on in this movie. I find it really interesting as well that, like, people are not talking about this movie a lot. And I also feel like a lot of people are, like, taking the plot all wrong. And I've also had people tell me repeatedly, now I do not watch Black Lightning and I do not watch Luke Cage. I have not seen it. But a common complaint that I've heard about Black Lightning as well as Luke Cage, even though I've heard that Black Lightning is attempting to address it a little bit more than Luke Cage, is the fact that there's a lot of, like, painting the hood and drug dealers and bad people as kind of cartoonish. maybe cartoonish is not the right word, but just as like they're the bad guys, like these are the bad guys, like these are the bad guys, and we have to like stop the bad guys. A lot of people have complained about there not being enough addressing of like the issues that white people have caused us, and like the reasons and like the why behind how these people became the bad guys. And something that I liked about the First Purge was that it showed all of that. Like, it showed all of that. It was like really refreshing for me to see that type of thing up on the big screen. I really, 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 really enjoyed it. So that is the good. The bad. Okay, so the pacing was a little bit weird. I think because they wanted to deliberately show us what was going on in this community and how people feel in this community. Just like, I don't know, there was a lot of like exposition and a lot of like explaining, like the fucking girl Naya and the guy Dimitri have a lot of conversations that like revolve around shit that they would both already know, things that you would like never say out loud. Like, when we were dating and you were first selling drugs and, you know, I was in high school and I was learning all of, you know, like, okay, like I would have preferred like a flashback or something. I mean, like a flashback probably would have been cool, because I do feel like, this is another thing I didn't like in the bad, the girl Naya was kind of like one note. She was kind of like preachy and sanctimonious. She was like a very standard, like, activist caricature type, like, and a very stereotypical like good girl, like, yes, and I'm trying to like get all the people off the streets and like get them into the church because that's where they'll be safe, and she's like on top of the fucking cop car with the bullhorn, like, yeah, da 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 da, like a Mary Sue. Isn't that what it's called? A Mary Sue or a Molly Sue or whatever the fuck you call it, like a perfect character. We see all these other characters that are morally conflicted, like Dimitri, the drug kingpin, has like all these different sides. Like he is a drug dealer, like he is a bad person, but like he is also somebody that like does feel for the community, and we do also see him having other interactions with other people in the community, like old heads in the community, and like helping people. And we do see that like her brother, for example, like he's a good kid, like, but he's angry, like he's frustrated, but like then when the time comes, like he thinks he could be tough and kill somebody, but then he can't be tough and kill somebody. But then we like do also see him selling drugs on the corner. Like, all the other characters are kind of like just more interesting and more multi-layered and more complex and more nuanced. But the girl Naya is just like a stereotypical like flat, perfect character, which I did not like. I also felt like it took a long time to get going when we already know what the premise is. Like, this is not a first movie in the sense of that they have to like really introduce us to the concept. Like, we don't have to be super introduced into the concept of what the Purge means, because like they've already made like 3 other movies about it. Also, the girl Naya, her acting wasn't all that great. Like, some of the characters, the acting wasn't all that great. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like the best movie I've ever seen. Like, it is kind of like, it is still a Purge movie. You know, like Purge movies kind of have this reputation of being like a really great concept that's like not fully all the way executed. I will say that I felt like the concept was well executed, but the acting was still a little bit like B-level acting, like B-level stars. There's like a couple familiar faces that you've like seen before, but it's mostly like B-level stars, B-level acting. I'd say her little brother, Isaiah, was probably the best actor. But, you know, like, it is still a Purge movie. And I kind of feel like we all know what that means. And, you know, like, it is still a B movie. Like, Black Panther is not a B movie. Like, Black Panther obviously has, like, an A-list cast and costs, like, $100 million to make. And, like the costumes and, like, the hair and the makeup and, like, everything. This is not, like, this ain't that. Like, this ain't that. But I kind of felt like, you know, it fits. Like, we know what it is. It's a Purge movie. Is there anything else that I wanted to say in the bad? No. No. Moving on to the ugly. The girl Naya has a friend named Dolores that is also a really bad, like, loud black woman caricature. She's, like, older. She's, like, really, just, like, really, really, really loud and just, like, oh, I thought we was doing it. You know, like that type. And I feel like I have to mention Naya is light-skinned. She is a light-skinned love interest. I know y'all are going to want me to mention that. I looked her up. I do not think she's biracial. She's from Baltimore, so I was like, woo, at least she's American. At least she's American. Y'all like, at least she's American. But she is light-skinned, which I know y'all are going to want me to mention. And there is a little bit of, like, this juxtaposition of, like, Naya, who's, like, this, like, perfect love interest figure. And, like, her friend, her close friend, Dolores is the name of the lady, who's, like, a little bit, like, heavier and, like, loud and, like, more abrasive. And I think maybe I wouldn't mind it. I didn't mind it, but maybe if Naya's character was, like, a little bit less perfect. Like, they even show Naya as supposedly being, like, so aggressive. Like, she's threatening to rip people's balls off and shit like that. But, like, even the way that that's, like, done and portrayed is in a very, like, safe sort of, like, manner. So there's, like, this juxtaposition that I did kind of feel like, okay, we're maybe getting into, like, a little bit of, like, weird stereotypical fucking territory here. One of, like, the main antagonists is this, like, crackhead named Skeletor that I just feel like is he's kind of pointless to the movie. He's just, like, a crackhead. Like, he's the first person to kill somebody, and he's, like, the only person to, like, kill anybody before they, like, send in the government and shit like that. I didn't really understand, like, what was the point of his character. Like, there are other characters, secondary characters that we see that are fucking angry and they are willing to get, like, violent. Like, we see these, like, two homeless women that are, like, friends that are actually, like, really pretty fucking interesting characters. They talk about how they've always been outcasts and how they try to, like, stick to themselves and how, like, people always make fun of them and how they're gonna finally, like, get their revenge. They, like, push these shopping carts full of, like, dolls and teddy bears, and then they, like, string them up in trees so that when people walk by, they'll explode. Really fucking cool and interesting. Like, there are interesting secondary characters, but, like, the Skeletor character, who's given, like, a lot of screen time and is depicted as the main antagonist, I kind of just felt like, what the fuck is this? Like, who is this? Like, what is the point of this? And then he, like, dies in, like, a really uneventful way. He just gets, like, killed by, like, one of the white people, random. So that was the stuff that I really didn't like, but I liked way more than I didn't like, clearly. I spent, like, 15, 20 minutes talking about the shit that I did like, I think, and, like, 5, 10 minutes talking about the shit that I didn't like. So, again, I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked the themes. I really liked the portrayal of the character Dimitri as a nuanced person. I really liked the character Isaiah as a nuanced person. Like, again, I do wish there was, like, more fucking nuance and, like, character development for the woman characters. And I do wish that, like, the main girl love interest wasn't, like, perfect, because, like, that's fucking annoying. But I just overall, like, I really enjoyed this movie, and I really like the themes of this movie about, like, and then there was, like, even some other shit that came in about, like, population control. Like, Mira Sorvino, white chick, she's, like, the fucking psychologist or sociologist or whatever that, like, came up with the whole idea of the purge, like, working with the fucking new founding fathers. And she's like, I'm not a politician, I'm just, like, running a social experiment that I just want to see what happens. So, like, as the night is going on and, like, nothing happens, she's like, well, like, nothing's happening, so that's it. So, like, we could just call the experiment, you know, a failure. Like, the people don't want to do it, so, like, this is not the answer. But the guy that's like working with, like, the party, he's like, no, like, we need this experiment to work. Like, we ran our whole campaign on this experiment. We need it to work, like, no matter what. That's real. That's true motherfucking politics. Like, people be having these fucking ulterior motives and agendas. They really don't fucking care about, like, what's good for the people. They just be, like, needing shit to work. Like, they don't give a fuck. So then he's like, you know, we're gonna, like, do plan B. We're gonna, like, bring in the fucking military. He doesn't tell her up front, but she figures it out. And then she's like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, sending them in. He's like, well, people need to believe that the experiment is working. And also at the same time, like, who the fuck, don't nobody care about some fucking poor people, some poor black people in Staten Island? Like, listen, there's not enough to go around, so it really doesn't matter either way if we fucking kill these people. Like, if we kill these people, that makes it easier on everybody else. So there's, like, some population control type of fucking themes going on. Like, and if this works, and we can even, like, implement the purge every year where they kill people every year, that's also even more population control of, like, keeping the numbers down of, like, people, which is also, like, some real shit. Like, there was a lot of real shit in this movie, like the utilization of military and fucking police and shit by the government, fucking disguising shit and sending it into black communities, like as if that's gangs and that's like our fucking problem, when it's like really them doing it to us. The population control shit, like the fucking gangbangers and shit fighting back and protecting the community, I loved. And they win at the end. They fucking kill all the white people at the end, which I really, really fucked with. They fucking kill all the KKK. They fucking kill all the fucking dirty-ass cops. Like, and they win. But then, again, at the end, they say, oh, look, well, the purge was a success. And then, as we know, they, like, go on to, like, have 3 more movies. So, that's what I thought of the first purge. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments if you've seen it. I really, really enjoyed it. I'd recommend it. I say go watch it a shitload of times and get your fix. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.